we're going to shift to a team that I never thought that I'd be talking about in a positive light, and that is the Sacramento Kings. As it stands, the Sacramento Kings, formerly the laughing stock of the NBA, are 9-6 for a small sample size, only 15 games, but they are on pace to have their best season since 2004, 2005. That, of course, was like Mike Bibby era, Peja Stojakovic era. So that was like a team of legit dogs. And you wouldn't think at first glance that this current Kings team is full of dogs, but they are. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, man. De'Aaron Fox, like him and him and SGA are probably the two best players that casuals don't know enough about. Like playing in Oklahoma City, playing in Sacramento, playing in small markets, playing on teams that aren't that great. Like folks are not going to talk about you at the national level. I mean, they are with Shea because he's been undeniably good. I mean, he's averaging like 30, and anyone who averages 30 is going to get they're going to get at least some portion of time dedicated to them by the national media. But De'Aaron Fox really is not. I haven't seen much talk about him, largely because there are other like more improbable stories happening, like the Utah Jazz, for example, being the best team in the Western Conference. Larry Markkinen is playing well. I mean, like, I guess just going back to that one point, like the Kings, I think everyone knew that they have good players, but I don't think anyone expected them to be able to put it together. And, they're not just doing it against bad teams. They've beaten Golden State, which of course a bunch of teams have beaten Golden State this year, but they're still the defending champions. They're still the team that has Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole. The Steph Curry who is playing better than he was during his unanimous MVP season. They beat Golden State. They absolutely, oh my God, they swashbuckled the Brooklyn Nets. I don't even know if that's the appropriate word to use in this context, but holy shit. What was the final score? Like 153, 118? God, I was legitimately disgusted watching that game. I thought I was going to throw up straight up. Who else did they beat? They beat Brooklyn State. They also beat Cleveland as well. Cleveland is on a little bit of a skid, but still a quality opponent. A team that is absolutely like just filled to the brim with talent. And of course, they are doing this on the strength of their offense. Their offense is absolutely transcending. I don't know if there's any other way to describe it right now. They're at the time of this writing or at the time of this recording, they are first in points per game and first in efficiency. That is, bro, that is crazy to think about. This Kings team is legitimately smoking on the offensive end. And of course, they are shooting the lights out as you might expect. They're shooting 50% overall, 38% from three. That is as a team, guys. That's fucking bananas. And they're doing it by manufacturing quality shots. They're passing the ball around. They're currently third in assists per game at 28. It's actually crazy that you could be damn near 30 assists a game and not lead the league in it. Well, they dropped to fourth after Monday's games, but still 28 assists per game. They're getting to the free throw line at a striking rate as well. Just overall, they are indescribably good. They are incomprehensibly dominant on the offensive end. And of course, all of this is because of the catalyst that is De'Aaron Fox. Now, De'Aaron Fox, for the last few years, has always been, I think, one of the more underrated guys in the NBA. He's young, playing in Sacramento, not the most advantageous position for a young guard, but credit to him, he's been in the league for like 5 or 6 years now, and he is still developing. He is still polishing his game. He's averaging 25. He's averaging 25 a night right now, which is right on par with where he's been for the last couple of years. Also averaging 6 assists, which is also on par for him the last couple of years. But the biggest shift in his game, the biggest improvement has been his efficiency. He is putting up unreal shooting numbers. His true shooting percentage is like 65%. I think I wrote down. Yeah, he's averaging 25 on 65% true shooting. That breaks down to almost 56% overall, 38% on twos, 38% on threes, pardon me, 62% on twos, and 85% from the free throw line. Now, I think that these efficiency numbers, particularly from two, I think that is gonna taper off at some point because it's 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 almost incomprehensible for a guard to shoot 56% from the field. Just that's like Giannis. That's Giannis territory. And Giannis is 7 feet tall with an 18-foot wingspan, and he is literally capable of jumping over and or bodying anyone who tries to defend him. So I think at some point, De'Aaron Fox will probably move up to 40% from three, down to like 51 or 52% from two. But regardless, the quality of shots that he's getting is just it's insane, and all of it is brought about by his improved shot from the perimeter. This is a guy who, for his career, shoots 32%. In two of the last three seasons before this one, he's been under 30% from three. Now, when you're a guard and you're an explosive guard, you're a guy who can beat anybody off the dribble, and he's also like decently sized. He's about 6'4" or so, give or take. Pretty good athlete. Like, you can beat anybody off the dribble. And I've watched some tape on him over the last couple of days, and he can beat literally anybody off the dribble. He beat Paul George off the dribble when they were playing against the Clippers. But the old De'Aaron Fox, you could neutralize that because you knew that you could sag off 5'6", 5'6", maybe even 7 feet or so, because you would live with him shooting 30% from three. You would live with him taking threes because you knew the odds were in your favor. That is no longer the case. You cannot sag off him that much because he will make you pay. Granted, he's not shooting that many threes right now. He's at about 5 a game, which is his average for the last couple of years. But there is a 10 percentage point difference that no coach is going to allow his primary defender to sag off of. I was watching I watched a couple of his shots against Golden State. I watched Andrew Wiggins try to defend him, and Wiggins was in this weird spot where he's like, I have to sag off because I don't want to get blown past on the dribble, especially with how bad Golden State's defense has been. But you can't get up in his face because he'll leave you in the dust. And this is Andrew Wiggins. This is one of the premier perimeter athletes in the NBA who is afraid to crowd De'Aaron Fox. Now, all of that just opens up the rest of the Kings' offense, and especially with Fox's ability to create, they are extra, extra lethal, even more so since they've went ahead and added Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, and Malik Monk. Kevin Huerter in particular has done more for this Kings offense than I think anybody outside of De'Aaron Fox. That's no disrespect to Domantas Sabonis, but we knew that coming into this year, Sabonis and Fox were going to be the 1-2 combo for the Kings. We both knew they were going to play well. They were going to put up numbers that we had been used to them putting up. I mean, Sabonis right now is at 17 and 11. 6 assists as well, which is fucking crazy. But we're used to Sabonis being a walking double-double. But Kevin Huerter comes over, and this guy is shooting 50% from three. They also acquired Malik Monk, 36% from three, or 37. He's at 36.7%. We'll round up. They drafted Keegan Murray, 36% on 6 attempts. Murray, Monk, and Huerter are all high-volume guys who the defense has to defend. You cannot sag off any of these guys because they will crush you. It is target practice for them. And then, of course, you have to worry about De'Aaron Fox, who, once he gets past you on the perimeter, an aspect of his game that has for sure been underrated was his mid-range. He's always been around like 38, 40, 42% from mid-range, which, of course, is not like Chris Paul or CJ McCollum territory. But if you're shooting about 40% in the mid-range, 40 to 45, that's pretty good. That's enough for you to not be beholden to the analytics, where they say if you're better at shooting threes than you are shooting the mid-range, shoot the three because analytically it's more advantageous. There's a higher reward for a similar percentage shot. He's always been very good in the mid-range, whether it's pull-up jumpers, whether it's floaters outside the restricted area, and then, of course, his much improved finishing around the basket. He's shooting something like 80% inside the restricted area, which is just fucking preposterous. But then you add his ability to play make for Kevin Herter, for again Malik Monk, Keegan Murray. Also, Terrence Davis has been tremendous for them as well. He's shooting 42% from three. Like, this team is absolutely for real. This is a legitimate playoff team. And it's crazy because they are good in spite of trading away Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. They're not good because of it. I don't think anyone would say that. It was mind blowing when they traded Tyrese to Indiana, because I'm just thinking about, pardon me, I'm just thinking about him in this offense as well. Um, of course, it wouldn't be the same, but like, there's clearly something different that's happening in Sacramento. But yeah, they're good in spite of that, not because of it. I think also, listen, we got to give some credit to Mike Brown as well. This guy has been a positive coach everywhere he's gone, whether it was him as an assistant. I mean, you think about his tenure with the Cleveland Cavaliers, like being one of LeBron's guys, going to the Lakers, although, that was arguably his worst stint. It was just like, what was it? It was a lockout shortened season, and then he was fired 5 games into the following season. So a little bit of a train wreck for him to go to. But then he spends 7 years or 6 years or whatever with Golden State, and dude, he is a fantastic coach. I think that if Sacramento keeps this up, it will be hard to vote against him for coach of the year. I'm just like already spitballing some guys who would be in that contention. Joe Mazzulla, probably. I mean, granted, you know, the Celtics, they're probably still using Ime Udoka's system, but to be the interim head coach and to command that team with such little notice is not something that should be taken lightly. Of course, Will Hardy for the Utah Jazz, at least I think that's who the coach of the Utah Jazz is. Yeah, Will Hardy at 12-7. Mike Brown has done a legitimately spectacular job with the Sacramento Kings. The only reason I'm like a little skeptical of them like potentially crumbling towards the end of the year, and I'm not going to say injuries or anything because every team has to worry about that. Their defense is just dog. Their defense fucking sucks, man. They are the best offense and the worst defense. It really is quite the dichotomy. That is one of my favorite things about sports, is when you have a team that's so dominant on offense and it just does not translate to the other end of the floor. But then, like, you think about it, a lot of these dudes are not gamers on the defensive end. Like, you got De'Aaron Fox, who has great hands, great ball instincts, great athleticism. But you got Domantas Sabonis, not a dog really. I mean, he's a big body, but he doesn't have the physical traits to be like a legitimate rim protector. Kevin Herter is not clamping anybody. Harrison Barnes, Malik Monk, Davian Mitchell, Trey Lyles, Terrence Davis, like, these guys are not, they are not them on the perimeter defensively, but it's fine because they're fucking shooting the lights out. And I think that that's okay, because I think it's okay not to have tremendous expectations for this team, because they're not supposed to be this good. They are overachieving right now 100%. Their over under this year for wins 34 and a half. That's like a winning percentage of like fucking 38% or something. But I think that De'Aaron Fox, I don't think he'll get any serious noise in the MVP debate, just because simply his numbers don't compare to guys like Giannis and Luka and Tatum. But I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like drop him in as being a dark horse. Like, once you get beyond once you get beyond Tatum, Luka, Giannis, KD, guys like that, you start getting real goofy. Like, oh, maybe we can make the case for De'Aaron Fox. I don't think that's practical, but the NBA media and NBA Twitter are all just like deranged people who love these wacky takes. I mean, I do too. It's great content, but I don't think that's a legitimate take.